Okay, we're almost to the end of the week. It's the Thursday evening Weather for Weather Geeks video. Thanks for joining me once again, everyone, on this 20th day of August. Here in 2020, it's going to be a steamy weekend coming up, but in the meantime, I hope you've enjoyed this little fall preview we've had over the last 24 to 36 hours. Taking a look at today's numbers, 48, our low this morning at 4:23 a.m. at the airport. That makes it our coolest temperature since June 14th, when we had a low of 47 that morning. Actually, not far from the record for today's date this morning. The record 45 set in 1949. Today's high at the airport was 82, which was our forecast. So it was a good forecast today. 93 is the record and 80 is the average for today's date. It's actually our first warmer than average high temperature since last Friday. We've seen temperatures much closer to the average since the start of last weekend. And for the month, actually, while we are warmer than average, it's not by a big margin, 0.7 above average. I expect that margin to become a little bit bigger with the kind of heat we have coming in the next handful of days. Of course, very, very little rain now for basically 2+ weeks. We had a little bit over the weekend, 0.17 at the airport on Sunday, but for a lot of places, hardly a drop now for about 2 weeks running. Most of the rain this month occurred in the first 4 days of the month. And no surprise that a lot of our area is covered in the either abnormally dry category or a moderate drought. I was a little bit surprised again today that on the Drought Monitor Thursday update, we didn't see more yellow in Trumbull and Mahoning counties and more of an expansion of the moderate drought, at least into the southern half of Columbiana County. But that moderate drought officially is nearby in Beaver, parts of Lawrence County, Butler County as well, and then heading off to our west towards the Canton area in Stark County down towards New Philly as well. It is dry, and I don't see a very wet pattern emerging anytime real soon. The air mass is also dry. What a day today. We had those cobalt blue skies with this dry air mass. The visibility fantastic today. Our dew points have been mostly in the 40s to around 50 degrees, and it's another evening in which the weather is pretty quiet across the lower 48 states with a scattering of showers and storms across the Intermountain West, parts of the Southeast as well. Let's divert our attention to the tropics. Haven't been talking about this much lately, but I think we're going to be talking about the tropics a whole lot in the next 4 to 6 weeks or so. We have two systems that will become tropical storms in the next couple of days. This is Tropical Depression 13, not looking super well organized at this point. With winds of 35 moving to the west-northwest quickly at 21 miles per hour. You can see the pressure's not real low at 1,008 millibars. 13 will strengthen into a tropical storm and probably go by to the north of Puerto Rico, north of Hispaniola. So it's probably going to miss the bigger mountainous chains, the bigger obstacles across the central Caribbean. If that ends up coming to fruition, this should have no trouble maintaining some strength and perhaps even becoming a hurricane as we go towards the second half of the upcoming weekend. So this could impact the Bahamas, certainly. This may impact parts of Cuba, but right now the center of the cone is across the Bahamas into southern Florida. As we always say, though, don't just pay attention to the middle of the cone, because it could very easily come down here or up here. So Bahamas and Florida really need to pay attention to this as we go into the upcoming weekend. Our second system is a little nicer looking on the satellite. This is Tropical Depression 14. The stats are actually pretty similar to 13, with a pressure of 1,007 millibars. West at 18 on the movement, and winds of 35, gusts to 45. This should also strengthen into a tropical storm. May struggle a bit because it's likely to impact the Yucatan Peninsula. That's the part of Mexico that sticks out down here. And then emerge into the Gulf of Mexico. And very similar to the timing of 13, this will be a very late in the weekend or more so early next week thing for the Gulf Coast region, from New Orleans to Houston, perhaps down to Corpus Christi. It's going to be possible that at the very end of the weekend we have a tropical storm here and one out here. Very close proximity. That's not something you see very often. And again, 13 may even become a hurricane. Now, it's also possible that because of the close proximity with these systems, that one may steal some energy from another. And so neither one of these are all that likely at this point to become any sort of a major hurricane. They certainly have plenty of warm water to feed off of. Water temperatures, of course, at this time of the year are super high down across the Gulf of Mexico and into the Caribbean. don't buy this buoy reading of 96 up here, but lots of water temperatures in the mid-80s. We're already running way above average in the Atlantic Basin for named systems this year, and we're still a couple of weeks away from the peak of hurricane season, which is traditionally around the first couple of weeks of September. All right, back here at home, quiet weather tomorrow, veil of high clouds from the south, a little bit more in the way of clouds than we had over the last couple of days, I should say. But still a nice day, middle 80s. Also middle 80s Saturday. The dew points are going to start to come up, though, late in the day. Not that humid in the morning, but late in the day, it'll become noticeably more humid. Small risk of a shower or thunderstorm before Saturday is through, but I think the higher chances are down towards I-70 in central and southern Ohio and southern PA. While Sunday probably starts dry, there could be a better chance of a shower or a thunderstorm Sunday afternoon. We have a very weak front approaching from the west, maybe just enough to trigger widely scattered showers and storms. I would not place large sums of money on your backyard seeing rain this weekend, although it will be a possibility in some places Sunday afternoon. So the dew points come up and they stay elevated into the first half of next week. All right, about this time of the month, we get fresh updates from the Climate Prediction Center on the forecast for the following month, and also the seasonal forecast for the following 3 months. So this is the CPC September outlook showing elevated odds of warmer than average temperatures across much of our region. Not a surprise because we've had 5 pretty warm Septembers in a row around here. Precipitation-wise, it's nice not to see the browns and tans overhead, but that being said, we don't have much of a signal for a wetter than average September, which we really do need this year. As far as the forecast for meteorological fall, that would be September, October, November, coast to coast warmth is favored. Not to say there won't be cool days, there certainly will be, but odds are elevated of that 3-month period coming out in the wash as warmer than average. Much like the September forecast, we don't have a strong precipitation signal at this point. It's nice that the official forecast does not include an abnormally dry fall at this point. Equal odds right now of a wetter than average fall, a drier than average fall, and persistence forecasting would suggest that it'll probably end up near average or somewhat drier than average, and I would not place a lot of money on it being a wetter than average fall considering the trends over the last couple of months. When in doubt, go with persistence. That's one of our old forecasting rules. You can look at all the models you want, but sometimes persistence ends up being the best forecast. All right, thanks for watching tonight's Weather for Weather Geeks. I'll see you back here on Friday. Enjoy the rest of this beautiful Thursday evening.